go on.
Okay, I hope he doesn't have a bad shine.
Wow, that's so cool.
Hello there, how are you all doing? I hope you're all doing well. So today I am going to be creating a 3D painting with resin, which is super exciting, except for the fact I've only used resin a couple of times. And let's just say I don't have the greatest relationship with resin in the world. So I've been planning to do this video now ever since I saw Nerdforge do it. She basically made the most stunning 3D painting I've ever seen. She used layers of resin and different layers of acrylic painting to create one piece. But rest assured, I studied Nerdforge's video many times over. I have done my research. I know a little bit more about resin. Well, I should have done the resin research before I actually bought all of this resin. Basically, oh, I've dropped it. I got what I could. This one appears to be leaking because it's damp and it smells of resin, believe it or not. However, there is one more part to this video that I've not told you yet. Jazza and I are going to be collaborating in today's video. He is also going to be making a 3D painting with resin. So if for some reason your name is Patrick Starr and you live under a rock and you don't already subscribe to Jazza, go and subscribe. He is the king of the art community and one of my biggest inspirations. His content is just hilarious and unique, and he does all sorts of huge challenges and art projects. We're going to be doing a video call in a minute, and we're going to be exchanging a word or a phrase that we are going to have to take and make into a painting, and I'm very excited about it because I have a fun word for Jazza, and if you'd like to know what it is, you're going to have to go watch his video where I give the word to him. I really hope you enjoy today's video, and let's get started with the call.
Chloe!
Hello, how you doing?
Good. I feel like this is like Sesame Street. What's the word of the day?
The word of the day.
Chloe, your word is deteriorate.
Oh, okay.
Deteriorate.
Deteriorate. Deteriorate.
Can I
Okay.
have that in a sentence, please? Yes. The thing had deteriorated. That's a different, but it's the same word.
Okay. I was gonna go with
So I've really thrown myself into the deep end here. First of all, it is so hot. I should not be wearing this. This is like a 28-year-old jumper, but it's fine. It's just really hot. I have never actually properly worked with resin, as I've said before, but I've also never actually made a mold for resin either. But today, we're gonna be doing both of those things, so I'm a bit nervous. Basically, I watched the Nerdforge video, and she made a really cool mold with this kind of foam board. She also had some silicone spray as well, which she used in there so it would come out. So I'm starting off by pulling out my inner Bob the Builder to work out and measure how to create this mold. And I won't lie, I was pretty nervous about it because I was certain that I would not seal it properly somewhere and some spots of resin would like leak out. It did, basically. Now I had 3 days to film this, hence why I used UV resin instead of epoxy resin, because obviously you have to let each layer dry for hours and hours before you can paint on it. So I really did not have the time to mess this up. It was like a one and done kind of thing. Although I did end up making 2 molds because I messed up the first one. I sprayed some mold release, even though it did absolutely nothing. So my first pour of resin, I faced my first issue. I hardened it with the UV light. Unfortunately though, the bottom was forming air pockets. I would give you a fancy scientific reason as to why this happened, but again, this is my first time using resin at a large scale and I don't have a clue. So basically I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna be painting over most of it anyway. By the way, I'm really excited because this is the first video that I'm able to actually use my brand new brushes, my Artistic Bear Co brushes. This is my brand new art brand. This is literally a full set of the best paint brushes that I have ever used. It literally includes everything you need to make an entire painting. I actually already released these on November 27th, completely wiped out and sold out in that first round. I actually put a few for sale up today, but most likely by the time this video goes up, it's going to be on a pre-order. So if you would like to check these out and get them for yourself, these are the most eco-conscious brushes that you will find. These are a professional standard brush set, but whether you're a beginner or a professional, these will work really, really well for you. But yeah, I'm just so excited I get to show these in this video because they work so, so well, and you'll see with the painting how beautifully they just make the paint glide on. So for the word deteriorate, it took me a while. Like, you know, what can I paint that's deteriorating? I paint bears and happy landscapes and Disney. I don't paint sad things that deteriorate. But then I had the perfect idea. So we have our first layer done. This is how it looks. I've already poured resin on this and it went on pretty flawlessly. Like, it's not perfect by any means, but it's pretty smooth, which makes me feel a little bit happier because this first layer was just not working whatsoever. So I have a couple of theories as to what happened. Perhaps I put way too much mold release on this mold and that's why it's kind of like rejecting the bottom, if that makes sense. That was one theory I had. Another theory was from my friend Jackie. I spoke to her briefly about it. Nerdy Crafter, she is like the resin queen. She basically said that I really should be getting a bigger lamp because obviously I have quite a big surface area here and I only really have like small little lamps. She told me that what it could be is that because it's UV resin, it's at that kind of surface area, never going to really level perfectly evenly, especially if I'm doing it too thick. I have been obsessed with the Titanic since I was 7 years old, and I've only ever drawn and painted the ship in its original state, so never have I ever made a piece of artwork with how it actually looks now, deteriorating under the water for nearly 110 years. So initially I thought that I should pre-plan it and sketch through the layers on my iPad to kind of figure out the parts I wanted to put onto different layers, but I decided I didn't have a lot of time, so I kept it a little bit more spontaneous and added it as I saw fit. So I started with the background, of course, the depths of the ocean and the sea floor, and I used acrylic for this entire painting and my fancy new brushes. Sorry, I'm plugging them a lot. So you can't sketch on resin, which is what I would normally do on a canvas. You know, do a sketch, paint over it from there, but you don't have that option with resin. So I basically just went right in with paint and I mentally pretended the sketch was there, but instead I just made it with paint instead. Also, keep in mind you cannot fix it if you make a mistake. Like normally if you paint on a canvas and you mess up a bit, you just kind of paint over it with the background color, but since the background is on another layer here, there are zero do-overs. It's like doing a sketch or something without erasing once. So basically, in essence, that actually made it all the more fun and challenging. So I really loved this so much and I want to do it again. Absolutely had so much fun. So I did 2 layers of the ship itself after I'd done the background. The first was a dark loose shape and the second layer was basically refining that shape a little bit more and adding a lot of colour. Then the third layer I added the details and refined it even more with the acrylic paint and some paint pens. I also added the foreground layer of the ocean floor because obviously the ship is very deeply into it. The ship is surrounded by ocean rocks and sediments, so I figured it was the perfect way to paint it on a separate layer to really create that depth between the ship itself and the ocean floor. Is done. I am so in it. I mean, okay, well, the painting part is done. I still need to fix a few things. I'm so happy with how it turned out because I was really, really nervous starting this out because, first of all, the resin went on it looked crap. Basically, the issue was I didn't realise, because I had the masking tape, it was leaking through the foam board. It soaked up, and that's why there was a lot of air pockets, because it was, you know, it looks bad. I'm very happy with this, but what I'm not happy with is how the edges look. They look so bad. There's a hair. Gross. I initially thought that maybe I should just like paint the edges with like white paint, but then I feel like it ruins the whole vibe. So then I thought, I wonder if there is a way for me to use resin but deliberately put bubbles all around the edges so that it hides it but also looks like it's a water-based piece. I think the resin kind of looks a little bit like water, but I also couldn't figure out if it looked like it was deliberately made to look like water or if it just looked like really poorly applied resin. So I decided there is a technique I want to try on this where you take some dish soap, you put it over the top of some resin, you cure it, and it kind of creates like a bubble texture. So I'm going to attempt to do this over the edges because let's face it, they can't look much worse. That's all done. Once it's all cured fully, I will show you a final shot of the finished piece all close up. And yeah, I'm excited. When I added the bubbles, I forgot by adding another layer of resin that I was going to kind of lose a huge amount of that bubble texture and be left with mostly small bubbles, which actually was what I preferred anyway, but I'm not sure if it just looks like, oh, I've just got a ton of bubbles in my resin because I didn't get rid of them, or if it actually looks like I purposely put them there, which I did, but I'm not sure how it actually looks. I really enjoyed this. I'm so happy with the painting itself. The resin, I mean, for my literally first time doing a large scale resin piece, I'm not going to criticize myself too heavily, but there are ways that I'd probably do this differently next time. But overall, the painting itself, I'm very happy with. Okay, so it is officially hardened. I've put the last layer on, and I'm going to attempt to take the mold off. I'm really nervous because I just started doing it and like it's stuck to the outside of the resin. Okay. It just... the whole thing is sticking. It's sticky. That's fine. Okay, so it is still sticky underneath, which means I'm going to have to probably just cure it upside down just to get anything that apparently didn't cure itself already. So I'm going to go and cure the rest of this, and I'm going to go sand it down as well. And once I'm done, I'm going to show you some final shots of how this actually looks.
It was degradation. It was
Deteriorate.
deterioration.
Yep.
Yeah. What'd you do with that curveball?
Well, I'm kind of obsessed with shipwrecks and in particular the Titanic.
Yeah.
So, shall I just show you what I made?
Yeah, go on. Wow, that's so cool.
I can't wait to see
The
yours.
contrast is amazing. Like it really feels like the depth of the ocean, but also it's really painterly.
It was worth
This
the
is
wait.
a really special one to me. This
Yeah.
is just such a fun project, and I'm really happy with how
Me
how
too.
this has turned out.
Thank you so much for doing it with me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. You ready to see what I made?
Yes, I am.
Your prompt for me was.
Whoa, that's so cool! So I just finished the call with Jazza and his artwork is amazing. You have to go and check it out. Go and check out his video on his channel and mind will be blown. It is insane. Jazza is literally my biggest inspiration as an art creator on YouTube. He is just so inspirational. His content is always so fun, and he never fails to make the most fun content possible. So please go and check him out. If for some reason you're not already subscribed to the King of Art YouTube, please go and do so and check out his video as well. I had so much fun doing this. It was just absolutely worth every second of it. I would definitely do a few things differently. Like I would definitely use epoxy resin next time and a different mold. But overall, I am very, very happy with how the painting itself came out. I would just want to improve on stuff with the resin next time. So if you do have any tips, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. But yes, for now, thank you so much for watching this video. I really, really hope that you enjoyed it. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video.